Well, there it is. The guillotine has finally dropped. Kevin Stefanski, once hailed as the steady play-calling genius who might finally unjinx the Browns, has officially been shown the door. And honestly, it wasn't just coming. It was long overdue. Because you can only play with fire so many times before the flames catch up. And in this case, that fire's name was Shedeur Sanders. Let's rewind for a second, because this wasn't just some standard coach firing. This wasn't about a losing record or a mismanaged timeout in Week 4.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
This was a slow-motion car crash fueled by ego, stubbornness, and one of the most bizarre QB decisions in recent NFL memory. It started with promise. Shedeur Sanders walked into preseason camp looking like everything the Browns have never had: calm, accurate, collected. A rookie with ice in his veins and command in his voice. A guy who wasn't just throwing dots in practice, he was elevating the offense. Fans saw it. Analysts saw it. Even some teammates were dropping hints that maybe, just maybe, the fifth rounder was ready to take over. But Kevin Stefanski? He saw Dillon Gabriel. And somehow, he convinced himself that Gabriel was the answer. That this was the quarterback to lead Cleveland into the next era. Never mind that Gabriel was coughing up turnovers like he was allergic to ball security. Never mind that every drive looked like a panic attack in motion. Never mind that the offense moved with all the energy of a stuck Roomba. Stefanski doubled down. Tripled down. Benched Shedeur. And what's worse, he didn't even own it. He hid behind injury reports. Called it rotation strategy. Whispered to reporters about readiness and development, all while his starting quarterback flailed and failed in front of a city desperate for something, anything to believe in. But Browns fans? They're not stupid. They saw right through it. The injury excuse? Never added up. The veteran leadership angle? Please. Gabriel was barely hanging on. The system familiarity line? A joke. Because while Shedeur was being iced out, Gabriel was actively losing games. And with every botched drive, every missed throw, every arrogant presser where Gabriel tossed subtle shade at Shedeur and smiled through the blame, the fans got louder. And louder. And louder. Until it boiled over. The moment came after another brutal performance. Gabriel stumbling through the first half of a nationally televised game like he was trying to get benched on purpose. By halftime, chants of Shedeur were erupting from the stands. Signs filled the stadium. Social media exploded. And for the first time, Stefanski looked rattled. He'd spent weeks defending his guy, brushing off criticism, playing chess in a game that didn't need a genius. But suddenly, the narrative had slipped out of his hands. And by the fourth quarter, it was gone. Behind the scenes, the front office was already scrambling. The ownership group had seen the numbers: declining ticket sales, merchandise stagnating, local endorsements drying up. Shedeur jerseys were selling out online even though he hadn't started a game. There were whispers from sponsors. Radio silence from long-time season ticket holders. Even former players were posting cryptic tweets like, "The kid deserves better." Translation? This wasn't just a football decision anymore. It was business. It was culture. It was reputation. And when your coach becomes the face of disrespecting your future franchise QB, that's not tactical. That's toxic. So when the press release dropped, short, cold, clinical, nobody blinked. The Cleveland Browns have parted ways with head coach Kevin Stefanski, effective immediately. No thank you. No tribute. Just a firing, plain and simple. And honestly, it was the most united the fan base had been in years. But let's talk about what really led to the unraveling. Because this wasn't just about Gabriel's poor play. This was about a pattern, a mentality Stefanski brought into the building that rubbed everyone the wrong way. He didn't just make a bad call. He made it defiantly. He ignored the locker room. Ignored the fans. Ignored what was clearly in front of him. And worst of all, he dismissed Shedeur Sanders like he wasn't even a factor. While the rookie stayed quiet, kept working, showed class in the face of blatant disrespect, Stefanski kept pushing the narrative that Shedeur wasn't ready. At one point he even referred to Shedeur as a kid with some upside, while praising Gabriel for being NFL tough. NFL tough? The guy was playing like he had the awareness of a broken vending machine. It wasn't just tone-deaf, it was insulting. And when Gabriel smugly called Shedeur an entertainer in an interview, the coaching staff said nothing. No defense of their young QB. No course correction. Just silence. That's when fans knew. This wasn't just favoritism. This was sabotage. Shedeur wasn't being outplayed, he was being buried. And Stefanski was the one holding the shovel. So now the Browns are in transition. Again. But this time there's actual hope. Because as the coaching search begins, one thing is absolutely clear. Shedeur Sanders is the future. And not because of hype. Not because of marketing. Because of what he's already shown in limited reps and practices. Leadership, calm, footwork, vision. Teammates rally to him. He doesn't just look ready, he feels inevitable. And with Stefanski out of the way, there's no more false narratives. No more excuses. No more politics. Just the field. Just the ball. Just Shedeur. Let him cook. What's next for Stefanski? Probably a long, soul-searching offseason. Some analysts say he'll land on his feet as a coordinator somewhere. Others think he'll take a break, try to rebuild his image. But wherever he goes, he'll carry this stain. Because this wasn't just a bad decision. It was a legacy killer. He had a future star. And instead of building around him, he tried to shut him down. The NFL has seen plenty of quarterback controversies, but this one will be remembered. Because it was avoidable. Because it was ugly. Because it cost the city its trust. But maybe now, that trust can start to heal. So what do we take from all this? It's simple. When you have a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders in your building, you don't play games. You don't spin stories. You don't ignore the fans. You don't play politics with the future of your franchise. You give him the ball and you get out of the way. Because Cleveland's been waiting decades for someone like this. And now finally there's a path forward. No coach standing in the way. No sabotage. Just potential. Just momentum. Just Shedeur. And this time, the Browns better not waste it. So what do you think? Was firing Stefanski the right call? Should Shedeur take over immediately and never look back? Sound off in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe because the Sanders era just officially began, and you won't want to miss a second of what comes next. Cleveland, you've got your quarterback. Now let him lead. Let's be honest, if you're a Browns fan right now, you're probably experiencing something strange. Something unfamiliar. It's called hope. And yes, it's scary. Hope can be dangerous in a city like Cleveland, where the football gods have spent the last 2 decades playing cruel practical jokes. But today feels different. Because for the first time in forever, the Browns aren't clinging to a relic of past mediocrity. They aren't trying to squeeze wins out of serviceable quarterbacks with forgettable names. They're not praying that a journeyman QB will accidentally stumble into greatness. No, they're building around a force, a spark, a presence. They're building around Shedeur Sanders. And make no mistake, this isn't just a pivot. It's a rebirth. Let's talk about that locker room right now. You can feel the tension finally release. Players who were quietly rolling their eyes behind the scenes? They're speaking up. Veterans who've seen this cycle of dysfunction 100 times before? They're finally smiling. Because the storm cloud named Stefanski has been lifted. You think they didn't notice the politics? You think they didn't hear the whispers that Sanders was too flashy, not serious enough, more social media than substance? That nonsense made its way into every meeting, every practice, every play call. And Shedeur? He just kept his head down. He let the media run wild. Let the doubters talk. Let Gabriel take the spotlight, even when Gabriel kept fumbling it, literally and figuratively. You want to talk about professionalism? That's it. Because a lesser man would have folded. A lesser player would have demanded a trade, taken it public, called out the staff. But Shedeur waited. Watched. Worked. And now, finally, he's got the stage. Not because of a PR push. Not because of pressure from his father. Not because the fans rioted, though let's be real, they were close. He earned it. The staff watched the film. The owners ran the numbers. The players made their voices heard. And when it was all said and done, there was no denying it anymore. The Browns had been trying to suppress the sun. But guess what? You can't keep sunlight in a locker. The question now is, what happens next? The Browns don't just need a win. They need an identity. This has been a team searching for itself since 1999. A revolving door of coaches, quarterbacks, coordinators, and philosophies. One year it's ground and pound. The next it's air raid. 1 month you're putting your trust in a game manager, the next you're drafting the next face of the franchise, only to bench him by Thanksgiving. It's been a never-ending loop of reinvention with 0 results. But now, there's a face. There's a focus. There's a franchise guy. And the front office better not screw it up. That starts with hiring the right head coach. Not just a scheme guy, not a friend of the GM, not a recycled culture builder. They need someone who understands this moment. Someone who sees what they have in Shedeur and builds around it, not despite it. Someone who doesn't flinch when the spotlight gets hot. Because let's be clear, it's about to get very hot. The entire sports world is watching this saga now. Not just because it's dramatic, not just because of the name Sanders, but because this is the NFL's biggest culture test yet. A young, confident, charismatic black quarterback, with a pedigree, a personality, and the skills to match, was nearly shut down by an insecure coach who couldn't see past his own system. Now that coach is gone. And the kid is standing center stage. So the question isn't just, can Shedeur lead the Browns? The question is, can the NFL evolve fast enough to let him? And if you're still not convinced that this is bigger than football, just look at the ripple effects. Since Stefanski's firing and the official endorsement of Shedeur as QB1, jersey sales have skyrocketed. Local businesses are booming with renewed foot traffic. National media coverage has doubled. ESPN, FS1, even networks that usually skip over Cleveland are devoting full segments. Ticket resale prices? Way up. Cleveland kids are drawing #2 on their arms with markers before school. This isn't just momentum. It's a movement. And it's what happens when a franchise finally stops running from its potential and leans into something authentic. Shedeur Sanders didn't ask to be the savior of Cleveland. But he stepped into the chaos like he's done it 100 times before. Unshaken. Undeterred. And now the Browns have a decision to make. Do they truly hand him the keys? Not just for one game. Not just for a short leash. But fully. Unconditionally. Because if they do, they may finally, escape the curse that's been hanging over this team for 2 decades. But if they hesitate again? If the new coach starts talking about competition, and earning it every week, and all those empty phrases that smell like fear? The backlash will be swift. The fans won't forgive a second betrayal. And the Browns will have wasted their best shot at becoming something more than a punchline. So here we are. A city on edge. A team at a crossroads. A rookie with the spotlight in his eyes and nothing left to prove. And the old regime? Gone. No more excuses. No more sabotage. No more holding back. From this point on, it's Sanders' season. And if you're Cleveland, you better hold on. Because Shedeur isn't here to compete. He's here to take over. And judging by everything we've seen, everything he's endured, everything he's done right while others fumbled the moment, he's just getting started. So what's your verdict, Cleveland? Was Stefanski's firing the beginning of a new era, or just the final act of another tragedy? Will Shedeur take this team to the promised land, or will the ghosts of the dog pound come creeping back? Let's be real. If you told a Browns fan 2 months ago that Shedeur Sanders would be the centerpiece of a franchise turning point, they'd probably laugh, painfully, nervously, like someone who's been hurt too many times to believe in anything anymore. And honestly, can you blame them? This fanbase has been through the absolute gauntlet. Quarterback after quarterback, coach after coach, all sold as the next big thing. All ending in flames, fumbles, and front-page collapses. But this isn't that. Because for once, it's not about empty hype. It's not about flash without substance. Shedeur Sanders isn't here to sell jerseys or go viral for dancing in the end zone. He's here to change the narrative. And if the first few days post-Stefanski are any sign, he already has. The atmosphere in Cleveland has shifted. You can feel it. It's not cautious optimism. It's not blind faith. It's something more electric, a sense of arrival. Like the city is waking up and realizing that this time, they're not being handed a mirage. They're being handed a quarterback who's ready. And the players? They felt it too. Reports from inside the locker room say the vibe has completely flipped. You've got defensive veterans watching offensive drills with grins. Wide receivers who, let's be honest, looked checked out under Gabriel, are suddenly diving for passes in practice. You've got Shedeur walking into meetings like he's been there 10 years. And the best part? He's not asking for permission. He's not trying to be the rookie with potential. He's owning the huddle. Owning the locker room. Not with ego but with clarity. With control. The kind of poise that can't be taught. The kind that either lives in you or it doesn't. And Shedeur? He's built for this. But let's not sugarcoat the pressure. Because this moment comes with expectations so heavy, most young QBs would crumble. And everyone knows the margin of error here is brutal. 1 bad start? People will say it was hype. 2 bad starts? They'll say Stefanski was right. 3? Back to the same old Browns. That's how fast things move in this league. Especially in a city like Cleveland where fans aren't just hungry, they're starving. Not just for wins but for relevance. For stability. For someone to finally make them believe that all the waiting, all the heartbreak, all the jersey burning and blog post writing and crying in the parking lot energy wasn't for nothing. And somehow, someway, the entire hope of that future is now wrapped in the arm of a rookie who wasn't even expected to see the field this year. Let's zoom out for a second. Do you realize how rare this is? 5th-round pick. New to the system. Playing behind a safe veteran option. Every obstacle in the way. And yet, the franchise is now built around him. Not because of some injury. Not because of a media campaign. But because everyone eventually came to the same conclusion. This guy is different. And now the pressure isn't just on him, it's on the front office. On ownership. On whoever they bring in as the next head coach. Because the days of dragging your feet, playing politics, and hoping fans won't notice? Those are done. You bench Shedeur again for some system guy? You're getting booed out of your own stadium. You bring in a coach who wants to compete at the quarterback position? You're not making it past the first press conference. You mishandle this moment? You're setting the entire city on fire, and not in the good way. The leash on the front office is now tied directly to Shedeur's success. And whether that's fair or not, it's the reality they created. Because you don't fire a coach mid-season, hand the keys to a rookie and not go all in. And the scary part for the rest of the league? The Browns might actually have something to go all in for. So what does Shedeur need to succeed? Let's get practical. First off, protection. You can't drop a rookie into the chaos of NFL speed with a shaky offensive line. The Browns need to invest in Shedeur's body like they're protecting the crown jewels. Upgrade the line. Get him time. Give him options. Second, coaching. This next hire is everything. You need someone who doesn't just understand quarterbacks. You need someone who understands this quarterback. Shedeur doesn't need to be fit into a system. The system needs to be built around him. That means mobility. RPOs. Short, sharp passing to get him into rhythm. Deep shots to keep defenses honest. And freedom. Freedom to be himself, on the field, in the pocket, in the press room. Don't try to strip his personality away to fit some outdated QB mold. Let him lead the way he leads. Third, weapons. You've got some pieces. But it's time to go shopping. Draft smart. Trade bold. Surround him with wideouts who know how to get separation. Give him a backfield he can rely on. A tight end who can be a safety valve when the play breaks down. And finally, time. Not just time in the pocket. Time to grow. Time to make mistakes. Time to adjust without having the city turn on him after one bad Sunday. This kid has the tools. He has the poise. He has the it factor. Now give him the time to turn it into wins. And to the fans? Let's talk. You've been through hell. You've cheered for quarterbacks who were scared of their own shadows. You've put up with coaches who treated you like you didn't understand the game. You've sat in the snow watching pick sixes and third and longs and baffling play calls. And now, you have a quarterback who believes in you. He sees you. He hears you. And unlike the last guy, he's not scared of the pressure. He's motivated by it. He knows the history. He knows the goals. And still, he wants to be the one who ends it. That's not just rare. That's exactly what you've been waiting for. So give him your support. Give him your belief. Give him time, even when things get ugly. Because they will. Because he's still learning. But if you stick with him, you might finally get what you've been chasing all these years. Not just a winning season. Not just a playoff run. But a quarterback who stays. So where do we go from here? Shedeur's got the keys. The city's behind him. The front office has made their move. Now, we wait. We watch. We hope. Because as wild as it sounds, Cleveland might have just stumbled into something they've never truly had before. A franchise quarterback. And all it took was firing a coach who couldn't see what was right in front of him. So buckle up. History's being rewritten in real time. And Shedeur Sanders? He's holding the pen.